Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Planet Coaster. This is The Trouble with Bubbles, and we're doing another time lapse. Now this one starts a little bit after I started building the planets for our, what I guess I can call now, the Planet Coaster. Haha, get it? Yeah, it's not very funny. But basically, I wanted to put all 9 planets, including Pluto, because even if Pluto's not a planet, I still consider it a planet. Anyway, I wanted to put them so that the roller coaster passed by each one. And so this next step in this time lapse is the time I spent putting Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, and Jupiter together. Now the smaller ones were pretty easy because I was able to use pre-made spheres, and they're a plain color right now. I don't know if I'll ever be able to add a texture, but I'm going to try to use lights and different colored lights and stuff to change and make them seem a little less harsh. Uranus has some moons right now. I keep wanting to say Uranus. I might as well just say Uranus has some moons right now. I'm not going to put every moon for every planet because lots of planets have lots of moons, but I'm going to put some notable moons like Europa, Titus, or Titan rather. I don't know. We'll see. And our moon, of course. But I spent a long time trying to work out the rings, and so I went over here to just off and I started laying out the rings. And what I didn't really want to use the full rings to fill in the space, but I ended up having to, and so the rings kind of overlap because Neptune or Uranus, one of them has a kind of topside ring. They're smaller rings. They're younger rings that haven't formed nearly as well as Saturn's, and so I wanted to include them on whichever one. I can't remember right now which planet it was that I put them on. I think I'm working on Neptune right now. No, it would be Uranus because it's Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, and so that's why we're building. I'm trying to build a small, thin, light ring, but it didn't really pan out in the end. I had to use the bigger pieces, which you'll see in just a few minutes. But yeah, I kind of like where they are right now. It's a little bit meh because the colors are just so plain. You'll see in a few minutes when I make Neptune and Jupiter that I used a layer of stuff, so I was able to get some different colors, and I'm not super thrilled with the way it looks, but it's not horrible. Now I got into some frustration here because I really wanted to make this into my planet, and it really didn't want to work because I needed the rings to go up and down versus side to side, because like there it looks like an egg, but it also looks more like Saturn, and Uranus's rings are up and down, and when you build it as a building you can't rotate it sideways, which is kind of silly. I spent a while trying to turn it on its side, but eventually I went to these, and these ended up being exactly what I needed. I'm not sure why. I was trying to put them on the grid, but what I really should have been using was just doing the advanced placement tool, which is what I ended up using in the end. But here we finally have a ring. We touch it up just a little bit so that it's more together. It's still not 100% perfect. I still have to do a lot of tweaking, but it's the right size. Just got to make it a lighter color, pick it up, and go put it on the planet and see how it looks. At the end of this episode, there'll be a POV showing off our added work. So it took a bit trying to get the 360 degrees to try to make sure it was lined up, but I think we got it pretty decent right there. I thought about changing the colors and having different colors per piece, but then it kind of just looked silly, and so I went back to just the dark, and I'll try to use lighting tricks, maybe. It's pretty diverse with the lights that you can use and the color schemes, but I don't know if it's going to work out as well as I want it to. That'll be something to see later. I decided Pluto was a little big, so I made another smaller one, positioned it right at the end of the top of the hill, or right at the top of the hill. So basically you come off the top of the hill, you see Pluto, you roll down and see Neptune. No. Why am I confusing? No, it is Neptune. So you roll down the top hill, you see Neptune, then you go around a little bit to Uranus, then you go down to the big circle, which will be Saturn, which I haven't built yet. I tried to make a super large ring like this, what I'm doing right now, for Saturn, but it just didn't. I decided to stick with the size I had, and I just had to work on making a bigger planet. So here's where Saturn is going to go. And Saturn rings are just a little bit tilted, and so positioning it perfectly in the center, trying not to deal with the struts that are holding up the coaster, trying not to deal with the coaster car running into it. I don't know, I think it looks like it's in a pretty good spot right now. And so this is where I really figured out how I was going to make the bigger planets. I still don't know how I'm going to make the sun. But I took this piece right here, which has a funky texture, and it's just weird, but I colored it, placed it, and then moved it at 15 or 30 degree increments so that I could fill it up. It kind of looks like a rubber band ball or a ball of yarn, but if I light it correctly, it might, I don't know, it might kind of look like terrain. I don't know, but it was the quickest and easiest way to just get a larger round ball shape. And so that one was pretty easy to put together. And I was able to slap it in there with not much problem at all. And I actually really like the way that turned out. Jupiter, not so much. It's bigger, and there is a big enough piece, and it's fine. But I had some issues with the color scheme and just filling all the holes. And so there's a lot of big holes that I might put either lights in or dark pieces to kind of look like, one, I've got to cover the giant Jupiter spot, the giant storm that's always raging on Jupiter. And I didn't want to recolor all of these. Oh, I did recolor all of them. Yeah, and I didn't want to recolor and try to reposition, so I had to start over again because I kind of screwed up the method on this one. But it was basic and simple enough. I wish there were bigger rings that I had so that I could use them to build the sun, but we'll see how building the sun's gonna go. I got some deep reds in there, and it really just, it looks like a pumpkin almost, or a ball of yarn, or a ball of rubber bands. And so I just had to spend a lot of time getting that just right, because all the gaps were at different intervals. It was a lot harder to fill than the smaller ball, but I spent a little bit of time filling it. Not all the holes are filled, which I actually don't mind, because I filled the biggest ones, and so they kind of add height, I guess, like textures of like, oh, well, this is a mountain, this is a valley, this is that. I don't know if that's going to actually play out. In the POV, I tried to follow the planets as best I could, because you can turn the camera left and right when you're watching, when you're riding the coaster. So here's my first attempt at Jupiter. Bring him over, put him right at the top slope. And so underneath him is going to be Mars? I'll have to look at the order, but I think it's Mars, Earth, Venus, Mercury, and then the giant sun. And the giant sun's going to be in the big area. Mercury is going to be... Alright, here we are at the POV. Mercury is going to be in the main area. I think I'm going to skip the second loop under Jupiter and put Mars at the bottom loop, but then I don't know if that'll work for Earth. I'll try to put Earth right at the the end of that drop, so you're looking straight at Earth and you go underneath Earth, and you turn around, Mercury's there and the sun. I don't know, we'll figure it out. And then I've got to add the frame and all the stars around. So hopefully that works out. I'm going to shut up now so that we can watch this POV in peace. But thank you guys so much for watching. This is Planet Coaster. I'm The Trouble with Bubbles, and I hope to see you in the next video.